Absolute values, the subject people like because it's so easy to remember. On the ACT, there are 3 moves that we'll have to know how to do. So let me go over each of those in detail right here, and then we'll do 4 practice problems. So the first move is the one that people never forget. If you put a negative inside the absolute value, you get a positive. This has to do with reasons for a number line, that if you go a distance from -5 and a distance from +5 to 0, you travel the same absolute distance, 5 units. And I only bring that up to relate it to this 2 other moves that we're going to have to know. So the first move is turning a negative into a positive if it's just a value, but check out what happens if we do this. Let's say if we have an equation inside an absolute value. Here's where I'm going to introduce the second move. So this, I call it the little tree branch. So I'm going to tree branch this, and I'm going to turn it into 2 equations. X minus 4 equals 12, and x minus 4 is equal to -12. We have 2 equations, so let's solve each of them. We're going to add 4 to both sides. We get x is equal to 16. Add 4 to both sides over here, and you get -8 is equal to x. So as you see, we have 2 answers. No worries, no problem. The test accounts for that, absolutely. So just to review, the second move is that if you have an equation with absolute values, what you do is you split the equation into 2 parts. On one side, you write it basically the exact same way that it was given to you without the absolute value signs. X minus 4 is equal to 12. X minus 4 is equal to 12. On the other side, you write x minus 4 is equal to -12. This brings us to our third move, our third and final, and then we can get into our practice questions. The third move is basically the same thing as before, except for we're this time introducing this new element, the inequality sign. So greater than or equal to basically any of those. What you do here is the same branching as we did before. I want you to take a guess on what we do. On the left-hand side, we're going to do the exact same thing as before. We're going to write the equation exactly how it was given to us, taking out these absolute value signs. That's x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 12. On the right-hand side, it's going to be pretty much the same thing as before, but we add one more thing, and it has to do with this sign right here. So I'm going to write x minus 4. What do we do with the 12? We make it negative, but the sign flips. So just to review, if you're given an absolute values and it's an equation, and you have an inequality sign, what you do is you do a branch. You write one equation exactly how it was given to you, and the other one you turn negative and you flip the sign. Okay, let's get into the practice problems. Question 1. Which of the following is an irrational number that is a solution to this equation right here? We have x squared minus 12 minus 4 is equal to 0. So irrational number is a key detail. We're looking for an answer. Which of the following is an irrational number? If I look at these, remember irrational number as the square root, that's your rule of thumb. A is clearly not an irrational number, so we can eliminate A right off the bat. Let's go back to our problem though. So if we add 4 to both sides, we get 4 is equal to the absolute value. And what do we do here? We use our second move. We're going to split it into 2. X squared minus 12 is equal to 4. I'm going to extend this just so I have more room to work. and this is x squared minus 12 is equal to negative 4. Let's solve these. We'll add 12 to both sides. X squared is equal to 16, so x, after you take the square root on both sides, is equal to plus or minus 4. Now, let's solve the other one. Let's add 12 to both sides. X squared is equal to 8. Check out my video on taking the square roots of numbers like 8, or look it up online. Khan Academy is a great resource. What you get is 2 root 2. So these are our answers right here. Plus or minus 4, 2 root 2. Which one of those is irrational? This one. So I'm going to look at my answers, and it looks like C is our answer, 2 root 2. Not too bad, right? The temperature T in degrees Fahrenheit in a certain town on a certain spring day satisfies the inequality T minus 24. Which of the following temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit is not in this range? So we just have to solve this equation, it looks like. What do we do here? We're going to split it into 2. So we get T minus 24. And what do we do here? Less than or equal to 30. And what do we do on the right side? Try to consciously describe what we're going to do. We're going to do T minus 24. There's 2 steps here. Is greater than or equal to negative 30. Okay, let's solve each of these, and it should be a cinch. On the left, we'll add 24 to both sides. So T is less than or equal to 54 degrees. On the right, we're going to add 24 to both sides. This is negative 6. So T is greater than or equal to negative 6. So at negative 6 degrees, that's pretty cold. 54 is kind of chilly. I'm from California, so obviously I think 54 is a little chilly, but it's actually probably pretty warm. Anyway, let's see which one of these temperatures is... Also, this isn't spring? Are you kidding? Where do these people live? This is nuts. Okay, so anyway, let's look at these answers. Which of them is not in the range? So let's look at negative 10. Negative 10 is less than negative 6. So that puts it outside the range. I think F is our answer. I'm going to check the other answers real quickly though. Negative 6 is equal to, so T is equal to negative 6. That checks out. Negative 5 is bigger than negative 6, so that checks out. Same thing with 0. And 54 itself, it could be equal to 54. Just as a helpful visualization, I'll write over here. So we could have it be 54. It could be negative 6. It could be any value inside here. Negative 10 is right out here. So that's why our answer is F. Our third problem, although I wrote number 2 up there, is this guy right here. If the inequality absolute value of A is greater than absolute value of B is true, then which of the following must be true? If you ever get stuck on your problem, and I recommend just trying this one right now, if you got stuck, I would advise you to, or if you weren't 100% sure of your answer, I would advise you to follow the question the way it's set up. What I mean by that is they say, if the inequality of A, blah, 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 is true, then which of the following must be true? They're asking us to look at this first. Going to the answers is probably not the best idea. So let's come up with scenarios for this. I think it'll be pretty easy. If A is like 5 and B is 2, we put absolute values, we make them positive. That's our first move that we learned. That was move number 1. This checks out. A is greater than B in that case. But I'm going to do a negative version of this as well. If I do negative 5, if I substitute -5 for A. And I say greater than, let's do -2 for B. This simplifies to 5 is greater than 2. So that makes sense. You know, it's almost hard to see because it's true, but we found a true statement. Okay, so let's look at our answers and see which ones we can eliminate. A is equal to B. I'm gonna make a table. You won't probably do this during the test, but I just want to demonstrate real quick. So let's check out A. A says that A equals B. Well, right here we chose an A value of 5, a B value of 2, and for this case we chose an A value of -5, B value of -2. Was A equal to B? Clearly not. Clearly not. So we can eliminate A. Was A not equal to B? Yeah, 5 and 2 are different, right? So A, that looks like that had to be true. I'm going to say B is our answer, but I want to check the other answers as well. So is A less than B? Well, over here we chose an A value that was greater than B. So that disproves C right away. Same thing for D. Is A greater than B? Well, here we chose an A value that was less than B. So we can eliminate D as well. Last one, E, is A greater than 0? Well, over here we chose an A value that was bigger than 0, yeah, but down here we chose an A value that was smaller than 0, so E is not an answer. The only one that we didn't eliminate was B, and B seemed to make sense, so there we go, that was our answer. Last problem, I think this one's a little bit easier to wrap our heads around, so go ahead and give this one a try. I think everyone with a little bit of testing, we'll get this one done. For all non-zero values of A and B, the value of which of the following expressions is always negative? So I'm just going to dive right in. I'm going to do a little bit of freestyling on this one for fun. If A, I'm going to plug in values of, 5 minus 1, that's equal to 4. It's looking for a negative answer. That's positive, so I'm going to eliminate F. If I look at G, let's plug in -5. So it's a minus -5 minus, well, let's do -2. Minus -2. And that becomes 5 plus 2, which is 7, which is positive. Yeah, let's eliminate G. Some of you smart cookies out there immediately jump to H, J, and K because they're the answers with absolute values on them. Yeah, this is the absolute value video, so I can't, you got me there. Let's look at each of these though. H says the absolute value of A plus the absolute value of B. Let's think about that. Absolute value of A is always going to be positive. You're adding that to something that's always going to be positive. You're always going to get something positive. Let's go ahead and eliminate H. J, let's do a different color. J says absolute value of A minus absolute value of B. Well, if I just choose a bigger number for A, if I say 100 minus the absolute value of 1, I'm going to get 100 minus 1, which is positive 99. So I can eliminate J. Process of elimination, the answer is K. Let's do one. Let's finish this video strong. Let's do an example. It should make sense already why this is always going to be negative. If I choose a value that's positive for A, like 5, and B is 1, but they're both made negative after the fact, you're going to get -5 minus 1, which is equal to -6. That's negative, right? That's negative. If I plug in a negative value for A, well, you know where this is going to go. And I plug in a -1 for b. But I'm subtracting both. This becomes +5. The negative comes down. This negative comes down. And that becomes +1. -5 minus 1 is -6 again. So it doesn't matter what numbers you put inside, you're always going to get a negative answer.